And we return now to live coverage of the National Governors Association winter meeting. This afternoon, a session with Education Secretary Arne Duncan discussing a federal-state partnership in education. This is live coverage on C-SPAN.
Governor Carcieri is the former chair of this committee and led governors work on education when Congress last considered reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, the ESEA. So thanks, Governor, for helping me lead today's discussion. First, a little bit of housekeeping. The proceedings of this committee meeting are open to the press and all meeting attendees. As a consideration, please take a moment, ensure that your cell phones are silenced. The briefing books for this meeting were sent to governors in advance and include the agenda, speaker biographies, and background information. To my right is Joan Wadiska, the staff director of the NGA ECW committee. Please see her if you need additional copies of the briefing book or any other assistance. Today, we're very honored to have the United States Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, with us. Following a few opening remarks by myself to frame the meeting, Governor Carcieri will introduce the Secretary. After the Secretary's remarks, all governors will have the opportunity to ask questions. The Secretary has been asked to limit his remarks to 10 minutes or so to reserve the bulk of our time to discuss the reauthorization of ESEA. Governors also have an opportunity to discuss race to the top, higher education, and early childhood education. Following the discussion, the committee will vote on policies. Time permitting, I also hope to briefly discuss the state unemployment trust funds. I look forward to today's discussion. Without further ado, let's get started. As governors, we know that a well-educated workforce is the best tool in any economic development strategy. A high-quality education system is the cornerstone of improving America's economic security and a better future for each and every one of our citizens. All students, from preschool to college, need an education that enables them to open the door of opportunity and achieve their full God-given potential. But as governors, we know that the intense competitiveness of the global economy has brought America's education system to an economic and moral crossroads. Even before the Race to the Top fund, around the world, countries were racing to seize the economic opportunities afforded a highly educated population and workforce. Among the 30 countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, the United States stands as the only country whose parents are more educated than their children. Our education system must work even harder to prepare students, all students, to be successful in work, life, or post-secondary education. As governors, we stand at the educational crossroads with state leaders, educators, parents, and students. We want more for America's children. The reauthorization of the ESEA, as well as reforms underway through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, come at a critical time for us to rethink the federal-state partnerships to improve student academic achievement, close the achievement gap, and secure our economic prosperity. As acknowledged in the state fiscal stabilization funds and the Race to the Top in the Recovery Act, education primarily and properly remains a state and local responsibility. Race to the Top recognized the power of governors to lead and enact education reforms. Over 40 of my colleagues, myself included, have applied for Race to the Top funding. Despite this, the ESEA, as it was first enacted upon, scarcely recognized the importance of governors and, in fact, at times undermined gubernatorial authority to reform the K-12 system. If our nation is to graduate each child prepared for college or career, ESEA must ensure that the Chief Executive Officer, the governor, is seated at the table to drive school reform. This just makes sense. Under the leadership of Governors Carcieri, Gregoire, Pawlenty, and now Secretaries Sebelius, Vilsack, and Napolitano, governors have stressed for years the importance of state leadership, the importance of building state capacity, and leveraging statewide reforms to help our schools. Yet too little has been done to embody state knowledge of what works, to replicate replicate proven state best practices and to foster state innovation. As I know my colleagues will join me in saying, the time has come for federal policy to support state leadership. Federal education policy must enable governors to help ignite and sustain a culture of continuous improvement in education. In doing so, our nation will take the first steps of many steps to reposition our education systems in the global community, and most importantly, we will have a path to truly ensure that every student will succeed. Last month, I, along with Governors Carcieri and Gregoire, participated in a call with Secretary Duncan where we discussed ESEA reauthorization. It was a great and productive conversation. I'd like to thank the Secretary for reaching out to governors on this important issue. Governors look forward to a productive dialogue to learn more about the administration's plan to support statewide, systemic, and coordinated education reforms. With that, I'd like to turn the floor to Governor Carcieri to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you very much, Bill, and it is a distinct privilege for me to introduce the Honorable U.S. Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan. Mr. Secretary, on behalf of the National Governors Association, welcome. I think for all of us that are involved in education, needless to say, we've seen a lot of the Secretary in the last year, all very positive, but I think it's helpful to remind everyone of his background and how he comes to this with the passion that he does. Secretary Duncan, I think many know, comes to his post after having served as Chief Executive of the Chicago Public Schools from 2001 through 2008, becoming the longest-serving big city education superintendent in the country. During his tenure as CEO there, the percentage of the district's elementary school students meeting or exceeding the state's math and reading standards reached a record high. Additionally, Chicago public high school students posted gains on the ACT at three times the rate of the national gains and nearly twice that of the state's. Also, the number of Chicago high school students taking advanced placement courses tripled, and the number of students passing AP courses classes more than doubled. Prior to joining the Chicago Public Schools, Secretary Duncan ran a nonprofit education foundation, the Ariel Education Initiative, helped fund a college education for a class of inner-city children under the I Have a Dream program. He was part of a team that later started a new public elementary school built around a financial literacy curriculum and the academy there, which ranks among the top elementary schools in the country. But most importantly of all, from 1987 to 1991, the Secretary played professional basketball in Australia, and I'm sure that skill has come in handy with the President, Mr. Secretary. But as I said when I started, anybody that's interested in education reform, changes, there's no one that I have seen come on the scene with the passion, the dedication to wanting to see the changes take place for our children in all the schools in this country. So, Mr. Secretary, we appreciate your interest, we appreciate you being here, and thank you very, very much. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Governor, for that kind introduction. I'll just keep my remarks very brief and really want to have a conversation with you. I first want to say a collective thank you to all the governors here and around the country. I've honestly been amazed by your level of commitment and your courage to work hard on challenging the status quo to dramatically improve education in your states. And what I have seen in state after state is governors stepping up and providing leadership, making very tough calls, and frankly doing some things that may be politically not in their best interests, but are in the best interests of children. And that kind of leadership, I can't tell you how much it means to me personally. I'm convinced it's the right thing for your state's health and economy, the vitality of that going forward. But the number of substantive conversations I've had with governors around the country has been just remarkable to me. And I think there's a perception out there that, we're pushing states. I think people have no idea how much governors are pushing us and challenging us to raise the bar. And that to me has been so encouraging. And I just want to say thank you to everybody assembled here. That leadership, I think, has been remarkable. The progress we've seen in a year is frankly amazing. And I was very hopeful coming into this job, but to see where we are a year later, it blows me away. To see 48 states at the table working together to raise standards on a voluntary basis is exactly what our country needs. The President is going to talk more about this tomorrow. I think he's